welcome back to another episode of Lauren's Take. As you guys know, this is the second part of my three-part series in which I will be celebrating Black History Month. Last week, I ran down my favorite Black films. This week, today, we will be going over my favorite Black television shows. And next week, we'll be going over some of my favorite Black novels that have been written. I'm really excited about this. I really enjoyed talking about my favorite Black films last week. Today is going to be fun because all of these shows are just, I watch them all the time, and they're such a huge part of me spending time with my family. A lot of them are very family oriented. A lot of them are just many of them were made during the 90s, and that's something that's I call it the golden age of Black entertainment, because so many classic Black films and classic Black shows came out all in the 90s. And, it just kind of spearheaded the movement that we're seeing now with even more shows with Black actors, Black creatives, behind the scenes, everything like that. So it's really exciting. But before we get into it, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And let's go. Okay, so majority of these shows are, shows that have predominantly Black casts. Pretty much every single person in the cast is Black. There are also some shows that have Black leads, so they're main characters. And there's some shows that the cast is mostly Black, but there are also characters from all different ethnic backgrounds as well. So let's hurry up and get started with, sorry, that was an email from my school. Okay. So the first two shows are kind of correlated because one is the main show and the other one is the spinoff. I will say, unfortunately, the creator is very problematic, but I have to acknowledge that they're just my favorite shows, and these are shows I grew up watching. Okay, so that's all I gotta say. Has no connection to me and the person who created them. But anyway, Cosby Show and A Different World. Both of them are just, they have such meaning to the Black community, and I feel like you can't not acknowledge they exist. I'm not looking at it at that. I'm looking at it as Cosby Show was one of the first shows that really showed, an upper middle class family doing the most, doing the greatness, because we had a doctor and a lawyer, parents, right? 5 kids, all different shades of Blackness represented. It was showing us in a positive light, in a fun light, in a great light that people could relate to. When I look at Cosby Show, I look at my, I see a lot of similarities to my family, and that's how I grew up, right? A lot of what the Huxtable kids grew up as, that's how I grew up. So I have a lot of connection to that story because it's very similar and very near and dear to my heart, because that was closer to my upbringing than some other shows that were out at that time. The 70s kind of came right before the 80s in terms of, we had Good Times, Jeffersons, What's Happening, all great shows, but they were very at complete far ends of the spectrum instead of kind of the middle, or kind of leading more to the high end of the spectrum. When I say spectrum, I mean we have different representations of Black families. And so while we were being able to see different versions of that, Cosby Show was just my show. I just love that show. In A Different World, no less, love that show as well. It's so good. Seasons 2 through 5 are really why A Different World is one of my favorite shows. And it talks about the experience at a HBCU, historically Black college, or university, but it's college, Hillman College. And it's so great because it's just, there's so many parts of it that is just perfect. And it just really represents so many different spectrums of the Black experience at an HBCU, and kind of seeing the intersection of all of those cultures, all of those experiences. And that's what I love about A Different World. I think it's such a honest representation of college itself, but especially from an HBCU perspective. And I love that show. I will watch it whenever I can. But yeah, A Different World, Cosby Show, definitely some of my favorites. All right, next up we got the Bernie Mac show. That show made by the legend Bernie Mac. May he rest in peace. If you have not watched Bernie Mac, you need to watch that show right now. It is so funny. It is just dry humor. It's sweet. It's heartfelt. Even though most of the time you're like, what is he saying to those kids? But it's hilarious. You gotta love the Bernie Mac show. Next up, excuse me. I don't know what is going on with my voice today, y'all. It is just, it's showing out. It's showing out, and I don't like it at all. And of course, my phone is being extra. Next up, we have Family Matters. Family Matters. A lot of people know about Family Matters. It was one of the shows that was on the Prime Network, I mean, so was Cosby shows. It was a different role. All of them were. Most of these were, or are, if they are current shows, because there are some current shows on here. But anyway, Family Matters. The funny thing is, I didn't get into Family Matters till recently, so this was a show I did not grow up watching. I don't know why. We just didn't watch it. But it's kind of in that similar regard as how I looked at Cosby Show. Very similar to my upbringing. Very similar to a lot of my friends' upbringing. Like, I could relate to the characters a lot, especially Laura and Steve. And probably more Laura than Steve, but there's some things that I could connect with Steve about too. And I just love Family Matters. I think it's like that show. It's a little cringy, but it's cute. And I don't like how they treat Steve majority of the time, but it gets better. It eventually gets better. And it was that show that I was at. I just love Family Matters. I think it's such a cute, sweet, heartfelt show. But yeah. Anyway, we're going on to the next one, which is... I'll start it off with the theme song, because everyone should know it. Now, this is the story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute, just sit right back. I'll tell you how I came a prince of a town called Bel-Air. Y'all should know what this is. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I mean, I literally said it just now. But yes! I'm loving the new one as well, like the reboot. The drama version instead of the sitcom comedy version. But anyway, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, it is a classic. If you have not watched Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I give you the right to literally stop watching this video and go watch an episode, because it is so funny. I love Fresh Prince. I don't even need to go into detail, because if you don't, it's the show that like pretty much everyone knows. And I feel like that's the cool part about it. It's like, it's huge in the Black community, but it's huge in, like, I see it in all different types of pop culture references. So I think that's the really cool part about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and it speaks for itself. But anyway, let's move on to the next few. Next up, we have a show that I don't think a lot of people know about, and I'm mad that they don't know a lot about it, because to me, this show is like one of the most underrated shows. Like, not even just Black shows. It is one of definitely probably the most underrated Black show, but underrated shows in general. Half and Half. That show, it's on Netflix. Go watch it now. It is so good. I love it. It's so funny and it's sick. Like, it's just, the sarcasm is real. The dry humor is real. It's top notch. It's top notch. I love Half and Half. I think it was done wrong. It only had 4 seasons. That's so messed up. Like, no. Half and Half, I would be so happy if they brought that back. Like, some of these shows, like, I'm like, yeah, they lasted long enough, they're good. But this one, no. I think it needed, like, at least 5 more seasons. And it had 4, so that would have been good. No, give it 6, so then it could have had an even 10. It's good. I love Half and Half. Sister. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, Tia and Tamara, you gotta love them. Anyway, like, Sister, of course I love it because I love my sister. And, like, the connections. Yes, they're twins. But anyway, I still get the same vibe. You gotta love Sister. Also on Netflix. And it's also on, Prime, I think, as well. A lot of these shows are on Netflix, which is really cool. But, I mean, I think most people have seen Sister. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's really great. It's really funny. It's really cute and fun. Go home, Roger. Like, it's a classic. It's a classic. And then next up, I'm pretty sure is, I thought so, Moesha. Featuring and starring our main girl, Brandy. Yes, I love Moesha. Moesha's such a good show. It's such a good show. I love Moesha. And I'm gonna go to the spinoff from Moesha, which are the Parkers. Parkers is also one of my favorite shows. It's all of these shows are just really good shows. They're good, they're funny, they got substance, they're great. Like, I love them. I love them. So Moesha, the Parkers, they kind of go hand in hand because Moesha is the main show, and then the Parkers spun off from Moesha. But I love both of them so much. They're phenomenal. They're fantastic. And then next, we're going into some Disney Channel territory because that's so Raven. It's the future I can see. That's so Raven, so mysterious to me. Look, could we just talk about how almost all of these shows, like the ones that have a theme song, like that's like actual lyrics and stuff, That's So Raven is probably one of the best theme songs. Same thing with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like, oh my gosh, you gotta love the Sister Sister. The Sister Sister theme song. Half and Half theme song is lit too. The next one is good too. Like, all of them have such like iconic theme songs. And I'm just like, again, we're just talking about the Black creativity here. Like, That's So Raven is just really great though, because it's Raven singing plus Chelsea plus Eddie. I mean, Orlando and Annalise. But That's So Raven, that's on Disney Plus if you want to check it out. I watch it all the time now. And my sister and I, we've been rewatching it. And so the funny thing about it, we're like, season 1 is just like, the first 6 episodes are just plumb crazy. They are hilarious. But I just love That's So Raven because, you know, Raven's crazy like I am, but she's great. Like, you can also relate a lot to Raven as well. And so that's why I love That's So Raven. And that leads me to Proud Family. Proud Family, they'll push your buttons, make you wanna hug on. Family, proud family. As the reboot is coming out next week. Yes, so excited. Or, yeah, I mean, I guess you would call it a reboot because it's rebooting it. But anyway, Proud Family is such a great show. That also was a show that was done wrong. That's why I'm glad it's getting a reboot, that we can finally get some more episodes out there. Their theme song is iconic. The characters are iconic. The episodes are just, I love Proud Family. Proud Family, that was my show. I grew up watching that. You know, that's something the young kids don't know about. But, I don't know why I said that. Like, I act like I'm so old. I'm not even 20 yet. I mean, I'm almost 20. But still, like, Lori, that was, Okay, next, kind of moving into some current territory. Got some current shows coming in. Family Reunion, which is on Netflix. Every time a season drops, and it's about to end, I'm so sad, but every time a season drops, my family and I literally binge the entire season in a day because it's so good. And it has Tia Mowry, Hardrick now, and Loretta Devine, who is like literally Black royalty. She is just such a phenomenal actress. She's hilarious, but she's talented. She can sing her tail off. We love Loretta Devine. But anyway, and Thelma Hopkins also plays in it. See, you got some heavy hitters in the show. And Richard Roundtree. I could go on and on. Family Reunion is such a good show, and I don't think a lot of people have watched it to the point that they need to be watching it. I just really like it. It's so cute. I love it. And they also teach you a lot. It's also some musical episodes in there. Like, they can do a lot with Family Reunion, and I just love it. I love it. And the one episode that cracked me up is when they were making fun of the Real Housewives, because then they actually had Real Housewives. They had Kenya and Candace. And that cracked me up. You know, I'm going to put some reality TV in here, too. I'm just adding that in. But anyway, I love Family Reunion. It's such a good show. I'm so sad it's ending. Next, we have Blackish. Blackish, you got it, you know. Come on. Blackish been on for, it's last season, too. We got a lot more time in Blackish than we did for Family Reunion, but I love Blackish just as much. It's so good. It's so funny. I was just watching it the other night, the new episode, and I was crying laughing. The thing about Blackish, it's just, I kind of grew up with a lot of those kids. Like, I really look at Yara and Marcus and how I've kind of grown up with them. They're both older than me by a couple years, but it's still kind of like when they were young, I was the same age, and so now we're all in college age, you know. I've enjoyed Blackish for that reason, because I've kind of grown up with the kids and they've grown up with us, you know. And so but it's just a heartfelt family show, crazy show. You gotta love Blackish, and it's very informative and educational as well. And there's so many things that like they talk about that I think about that I'm like, finally someone talked about it, because I was like, I don't know how to feel about this. So I love that part about Blackish, and I love how it kind of, you know, makes you think. It makes you think and reflect, and I like that part about Blackish as well. And that also reminds me, I forgot to add in Casey Undercover in my Disney Channel situation. This Casey Undercover, oh my gosh, I love Casey. Zendaya, of course. Casey Undercover is so good. Oh my gosh, I loved that show. I had an attachment to that show, and it was so great being able to see like a Black family as like, you know, because the last time we had really gotten to see a Black family up close and personal was That So Raven, to be honest, and Proud Family. But, you know, we have Shake It Up, which is Zendaya again. But, you know, again, it's still more so Rocky and Cece than it is Rocky and her family. So Casey Undercover, it's her family who are, like, the main part of it. And that was really great. And that also makes me lead to Ant Farm. Because Ant Farm, China and McClain, yes! So, like, oh my gosh, you have two greats right there. You had China and McClain and Zendaya. And then they had that episode when Shake It Up was still on, Ant Farm was still on, and I think it was season 1, and Zendaya guest starred on Ant Farm. That was a fun time. That was a really fun episode. But yeah, Ant Farm was my show. Alright, next I'm going to put in Grownish, because Grownish is the spinoff, of course, from Blackish. And, you know, Zoe is the main character in that. Yara Shahidi is the main character in that. And what I love about Grownish is I appreciate it even more now because I am a college student. Is it a little, yeah, of course it's not exactly like colleges, but I really enjoy it because, you know, it's kind of like Zoe trying to find herself and going through the most in order to find herself. But I find there is stuff to learn within that. Like, I feel like all of the characters, especially now in the, like, current season, I am a little behind, but I'm kind of paying attention to what's happening, so I'm getting spoilers, but it's fine. All of them are kind of going through this time of realizing, what do they really want? Who can help them get there? Do they need to lose some people in order to get there? And, you know, I think that's what's so great about it. Seriously, I really love that. And Chloe and Halle, I mean, yes. Chloe and Halle Bailey and Trevor Jackson, Diggy Simmons, like, you got a lot of, like, really cool young actors coming into their own on Grownish, and now all of them are really starting to make something for themselves, and I'm so proud of each and every one of them. And I love everyone in Blackish, but, like, I gotta, you know, focus on my people in there. And so I love that part of it. And okay, now we're going back to some of the old shows. 227 is also one of my really close favorites. Actually starring Marla Gibbs, who played Florence in Jeffersons as not Brenda. It's not Brenda. Mary. Her name's Mary. Brenda's her daughter, played by Regina King. Yes, queen. But yeah, so, and Jack A plays in this, like, a lot of heavy hitters in 227 as well. I really love 227. That's it. I haven't watched it in a while, but I love 227. I also love Amen. Amen actually has Sherman Hemsley from Jeffersons as well. And you also have Anna Maria Horsford, she played in Amen, but she's a really popular actress who played in a lot of films as well. And Clifton Davis, who played in That's My Mama. That's also a really good show as well. Oh my goodness, I'm loving how I'm making all these connections. So, like, a lot of these shows that, like, came in the 80s and 90s, like, come from shows, you know, of the pioneers who really pioneered Black television in the 70s when we finally started seeing us on screen. In better lights. And we were the main characters, and so it's so really cool to kind of see how the shows that they have later on, how popular they became as well. So I love Amen. I love 227. Next, going into the 90s again, we have Martin with Martin Lawrence. That show is sick. It is absolutely crazy, but I love it. Martin is my show. I stayed watching Martin. I watch Martin as much as I watch Fresh Prince because they both come on BET like every single Saturday and Sunday. So like when we were bored with whatever else is on television, we turn to BET and watch Fresh Prince and Martin all day. Because I've also like crossed off so many of these, but Everybody Hates Chris with Tyler James Williams from Let It Shine, what I was talking about last week. When I told you, I've known him for long periods of time because when I was a little girl going to like preschool, kindergarten, I would come home and watch Everybody Hates Chris. That show was so hilarious. They treat Chris so bad. You're like, poor Chris, but it is so funny and it's a classic. I love Okay, I'm all over the place. Everybody Hates Chris. And which leads me to Abbott Elementary. I just gotta put that in there. Of course I gotta put that in there. If you have not been watching Abbott Elementary, please start watching it. It's so good. It's so cute, so sweet, and it's hilarious. Like, it's such a good show. Like, I watch that show devotedly when it comes on 9 a.m. Wow, Lauren. 9 p.m. on ABC. Check it out. Abbott Elementary, phenomenal. I love that show. And, just going into it, I'm pretty much finishing up. I also gotta admit, I love All American. All American is like the best show on CW. You can't touch it. It genuinely is the best show on the CW right now. And like all the other shows are okay. Like all the other ones are kind of cringy or annoying. But All American, it's still top tier. It's awesome. I love All American. And next we have Grand Cru, which is also a current show coming on in NBC because of the Olympics. We haven't been able to watch it, but I love Grand Cru. That show is also hilarious. Definitely check it out. Support these black shows. I want these shows to last because they're actually good. They're not annoying. They're not cringy. They're funny. They're sweet. They're hilarious. Like, you can connect with the characters. You will be having a great time watching them. Watch these shows, people, please. I really, really, really want these shows to go far, and because they're really good shows. I don't say that a lot about some shows, because nowadays it's like shows only last like 2-3 seasons, unfortunately, because everyone is watching whatever. But support these shows. They're on local television networks. Abbott Elementary and Grand Cru and Grownish is on Freeform, so it's not on a local channel, but keep supporting these current black shows. And I'm going to also put in there The Equalizer, which stars the lovely, lovely, lovely Queen Latifah. I'm loving The Equalizer, also a current show. Please support it. It's on CBS. I think we're finally getting a new episode this weekend, hopefully. And yeah, and I'm gonna end it with the reality shows that I love. Reality shows. Real Housewives of Potomac is my all-time favorite housewife franchise. Like, oh my gosh, Real Housewives of Potomac. When I tell you I watch those episodes devotedly every single Sunday when they come on, I do. I love Real Housewives of Potomac. I also love Real Housewives of Atlanta, but it has gotten very dramatic. So I don't watch that as much, and it hasn't been on either, so I think they're doing a lot of changes with it, but I mean, Candy and Portia are like doing their own thing with their own reality show, so good for them. I'm excited for them. And yeah, I just really love that. I love Selling, Tampa. That just came out on Netflix, I think a couple months ago. Love that show. That show was really good. I was like, look at these sister girls making it. I was like, yes. Made you kind of want to be a realtor, but I'm like, I am too shy to be a realtor. I am going to stay here with YouTube. I'm kidding. Get my degree so I can become an English professor. That's what I want to do. That's my goal. But yeah, I love Selling Tampa. And I also really want to say, nailed it with Nicole Byer as the host. Sis, she makes that show amazing. Like, when I tell you I love Nailed It. Nailed It is such a good show. My family and I now watch it like almost every day. Family Feud, same thing with Steve Harvey. Like, you gotta support these shows. These shows are really, really good, and the hosts are so phenomenal. The people on them are so phenomenal. But we gotta support these shows because they genuinely are good and they make you feel good. And you you can't ask for much more than that. So yeah, I think that is it. I think I'm done. I am like, my voice of course is tired, but you know, that's all. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching this video. It was a little long one, but when I get talking about my favorite shows, it's hard for me to calm down. Hopefully I could get this lower than what it is right now. Right now it's almost like 30 minutes. So hopefully it'll be lower than that. But thank you again for sitting and watching. If you did, make sure to check out these shows. Most of them are on a lot of streaming services, or if you have a lot of these shows are also on local television channels. So especially the current shows that I was talking about, check them out. A lot on Netflix, a lot on Prime, a lot on Hulu. And yeah, I just love all of them. I think all of them are on a streaming service, unless they aren't. But anyway, that concludes this video. Please give this video a big thumbs up. Don't give it a thumbs down. That's just rude. Also, subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And I shall see you next week. Make sure to mask up, social distance, be kind to people. Don't be extra. Just be a good person, a good soul, good citizen. And happy Black History Month once again. And yeah, bye. Oh, also, Pisces season starts tomorrow. That's my Pisces. I'm Pisces. So, you know, I'm going to be turning up. But anyway, all right. Bye.